Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Saucy. Here I have an X131e laptop. Um, I had this for about a year and a half, and it was missing a screen, and it's also missing an escape key for the keyboard. I had enough of this thing being in this state, so I decided to try out to see if an X120e screen will fit and work on this X131e. It turns out the screen does work on it, but it is a little bit too tall and wide. So I decided to bust out my Dremel and see if I can make it fit. I don't recommend this mod to do. Just I was trying to save like $35 on a screen, and I couldn't justify buying a screen when I bought this for $35. So I had an extra set of X120es to pull parts from, and that's what I went ahead and did. I did the screen, swapped it in. Some parts of it, as you can see, doesn't really look nice. The main thing is that this is pretty bad, that metal finish right there. And also when I did the filing down, I don't think I had to do this filing down, but whatever. Other than that, this is basically just going to be as like a secondary laptop. It's going to be my on the field rugged laptop at my work. When I'm going through electronic waste, I might have my cell phone or my Pixel on me, but maybe the stuff that we're getting is really dirty, and sometimes we have to bend down in the bins. So there's a chance of me always breaking my phone by applying too much pressure when it's in my pocket. And the Pixel, I can't use it. It doesn't have the touchpad doesn't work with my gloves. So with this having a track point, I could still use my gloves, web browse, and I could just type information on here. And this thing is fairly rugged. It is thicker than the X120e, so some people might not like that. Lenovo decided to cater more to the school environment, and is trying to make this like the school environment being a kindergarten to grade 12. And they decided to make it a lot more thicker. They added like these rubber bumpers that I am quite a fan of this. And yeah, just I've had one of these before in the past. I bought it for like $60 and I sold it for 180. But as far as performance goes, it has a third gen i3 processor, 1.9 gigahertz i3 3227U processor. So it works pretty good. I was able to play League of Legends on this, and it does like 30 frames per second medium settings. It's just that the screen it's small, so it's very hard to play games on. I don't recommend getting this for a gaming machine, but if you want to play some games on Intel graphics, this can play it like on medium to low settings on certain old games. Yeah. But that other than that, everything works on here. There is this weird little boot up thing where it says the thermal sensing is failed or something like that. So I'm not too sure why it does that. That's probably the reason why I got it for so cheap, because the seller said the motherboard is bad, comes up with an error. Those two things will push people who generally just want to flip laptops away. And so I got this. I think it had like 4 gigs of RAM on here that I put on another computer, and for $35, 4 gig RAM stick at the time was like, you get it for like $12 to $15 shipped. So this is essentially $20 more, and I get a whole laptop with it, minus the screen, of course. And yeah, I think it paid off pretty well. USB 3.0, HDMI out. This is basically all you need for a computer nowadays. And it has been working well for my work for 2 weeks, and I think it's here to stay. So enjoy the rest of my video. Although I did test the screen that works on the X131e, I couldn't find that screen, so I had to bust open another X120e that I got at an auction to use and to fix up. The track point and the keyboard both have separate ribbon cables, so they're not like the typical normal ThinkPads where you could just push it onto the motherboard. Here I have it booting up, and standard, good BIOS, no locks or anything. Windows 8 key that I don't know if it's Pro or Home or Starter. So I need to get a COA to get Windows 8.1 activated. Here I am just showing you guys that it just doesn't fit. It's just slightly too wide. Or too tall, I should say. And a little size comparison of the X120. on the left and the X131e on the right. And the X131 shares the same frame as the X140 and the 141, I guess. At first I was a bit scared to cut, but then I gained some more confidence. But still I was a bit afraid. I don't know why. I was afraid all the sparks were going to start a fire. I also put the I had the lid on the table, but I put the base instead on the table, and it provided a much more better cutting angle. And yeah, the sparks just fly. I didn't want to mess up my Dremel anyways. This was one of the main reasons why I bought my Dremel in the first place, that I wanted to do something, fun like this. Well, I should say that I want to mod a W500 motherboard onto a T60 chassis to do the 4x3 IPS mod. Boring stuff. This took about, I think it just took about like 2 hours to do this whole mod process. A lot of the time was me just figuring out how to do this. If I would have just apply more pressure on this part, it would have been a lot more easier. Here I am just, connecting it. It does fit. The screen is so dirty, but yeah, it fits. There's a little bit of wiggle room, as you can see, but I'm only gonna be using it, and there's worse laptops out there with worser lids and hinges. I applied some blue tape just in case to hold the display. I don't know if it actually works. And then, this cable right here is a pain in the butt. You have to have it in a certain area for it to work, for it to open and close. That was my little stress test to see how well it would have been done. When I put the bezel, I noticed that it wouldn't fit, so I had to modify the bezel for it to fit. And then I decided to use the Dremel on plastic, and oh my gosh, since it's going so fast, it heats up the plastic, and it basically smelled like it smelled like oh my gosh, it smelled gross. So I would not recommend that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then my other idea was, get a X-Acto knife and just start cutting. Well, it's not an X-Acto knife, but it's one of those blades. And yeah, I found out later that I should have cut on the back instead, because the back has like a groove that you could cut to, but since then the damage has already been done, so I decided to just cut. This was after I did a few guidelines with the razor blade that I brought the scissors. They're just some random hair clippers that kind of suck. And then I had to take out all the little holders for the bezel on the bottom because it wouldn't fit. It was still too tall. And if I would have left them, it maybe would have caused damage on the display. This filing process took about like 45 minutes. And it was mainly of seeing if it will fit or will not. Maybe I didn't have to do that. Oh, and then so I found out that, it didn't fit flushly, so I decided to Sharpie the metal to make it at least not look so tacky. Maybe I should have put a ThinkPad carbon fiber, or not the ThinkPad, the carbon fiber vinyl wrap instead on there, so it at least look kind of good, but sometimes, yeah, I just didn't think about that. Right here I applied some tape just so that, it could just give a little more reinforcement. I'm missing the holders on the sides for the LCD. I don't know where it went, and I don't think it won't work for that screen anyways for the X131e, because it only fits the X120e. SSD time, which is a SanDisk. I think it's a SATA 2, or it might be SATA 3. 64 gig. I think they're about like $20. Maybe $15 if you're lucky. 10 if you don't want to include shipping. and I didn't have the caddy for it, so I just had some tape for it, and it's secured in place. MSATA support. The X120 doesn't support MSATA, and I don't know if HP or Dell has a small laptop at this time, business laptop that supported MSATA. And of course the Wi-Fi cables you have to worry about, even though they came off. Oh, and I was just showing just random, same matching or same Samsung RAM. For the most part, you could mix and match whatever. It really doesn't matter, but some people like to have the same RAM on there. And here I am being a little freaking weirdo. I do not know what the hell I'm talking about right here. Oh, yeah, the build quality didn't work. I did record audio here, but it's coming out staticky, so you guys will just get the wonderful blue snowball experience. And I booted to this operating system, which sucked at the time. It did not work for some odd reason. Just some close-ups. And here is a boot up test. This takes about 10 seconds to boot with that SSD. So yeah, if you can find SSDs for cheap, just get them. It really doesn't matter. In this case, I don't need to have that much space saved anyways. And since USB disks are super cheap nowadays, yeah, there's no point. And then I could not get the battery manager to work. I had to download this framework. And I tried doing a few things, but I hit a 40-minute mark, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And here's some footage of me playing League of Legends. The screen's a little bit more bluer than it should be. That's just because of the camera and the angle. It was actually very hard to play in video games, so I had to take it off. You won't see the part where I die. So yeah. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys like it. This mod was kind of fun to do. I like to get my hands dirty, like to try out new things. I don't recommend it, as you're just better off just buying another screen or buying a computer with a working screen. As if I would have parted out, I don't think that it wouldn't really make much. The motherboard is the only thing that was worth some money, but even then it does have that problem, so I don't want to scare some people with that. I would have sold the motherboard for $50 though. If that's even possible. So yeah, I'll see you guys around, and hope you guys have a nice one. Bye.